But we can never realize our call in a society and church divided. As long as injustice and unfairness continue, we will have division. Our holy scriptures teach us this exactly. That is why Faithful Antiracism is an essential book. It is a Christian guide for our troubled waters. It shows us step by step how to work towards systematic change. May it be a blessing to us all. Michael O. Emerson. Introduction. When it comes to racial dynamics in the United States, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the magnitude of the complexities and challenges. The protests that took place across the United States in the summer of 2020 were an example of the enormous pain and concern that continues to be felt by millions of Americans. For hundreds of years, individuals have worked to end racism and racial injustice in the United States. Yet it still remains a powerful and persistent force. There's so much that needs to be acknowledged, understood, and dismantled that it can feel like an impossible mountain to climb. The challenges are real, but so are the possibilities. As we begin this book, we hope and pray you will also have a sense of the magnitude of the possibilities. Imagine how different our lives could be if our society was rid of the disease of racial injustice. No more dealing with the spiritual and psychological burden of receiving advantages or disadvantages simply because we are categorized by society in one way or another. No more strained and divided cross-racial relationships. No more passing down a legacy of racial dysfunction to our children. Imagine if Christians were living out God's plan for us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 39. And to do what is right and just. Genesis chapter 18, verse 19. Imagine how different our Christian organizations could be if we were living out Jesus' prayer that we would be one as he and the Father are one. John chapter 17, verses 20 through 21. Imagine how different our society could be if our cultural and ethnic differences were a source of strength and joy, rather than a source of division, conflict, and injustice. Imagine if we could work together across racial, ethnic, and cultural lines to address the major challenges we and our children will face in the coming centuries. The journey towards the aforementioned realities is not easy, but it is well worth it. Even if we don't arrive at the top of the mountain within our lifetimes, every step we take toward the summit is a step away from evil, pain, confusion, and conflict, and toward Christ's peace, healing, truth, and love. We are excited to journey with you. In this book, we wrestle with these questions. What are some key concepts we need to understand in order to have a biblical, effective approach to addressing racism? Chapter 1. What are some principles in the Bible that apply to racial injustice? Chapter 2. What can we learn from Christians who have attempted to stand for justice in the past? Chapter 3. What do we need to understand about past and present racial realities? Chapters 4 and 5. What do we need to understand about racial trauma? Chapter 6. What are common, ineffective ways that Christians work toward racial progress? Chapter 7. What can we learn from the example of the early church? Chapter 8. How can we seek out help and help others? Chapter 9. How can we effectively measure progress? Chapter 10. How can we help change society? Chapter 11. Before we jump into the aforementioned content, we want to define some key terms and share a little about our backgrounds and the research that laid the foundation for this book. What we mean by faithful anti-racism. We are using two senses of the term faithful. First, faithful describes someone who is trustworthy and loyal. Faithful anti-racists are steadfastly committed to working toward anti-racism. Second, faithful anti-racists are full of faith or faithful. We believe it is essential to rely on God's power and leading in order to make progress. As Jesus said, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear.